So let's go over what we spoke a little bit last week and continue because, not last week, last shiur, because last week wasn't a shiur. Schiete spirus. Squeezing out pyrus is anovim v'zeisim, grapes and olives, is a iser deraisa. The reason is because most of the fruits from zeisim and anovim are to squeeze. People eat it also, they eat olives, they eat grapes, but most of the fruits are planted in order to make wine and make oil. Therefore, the Torah, apitoira, if somebody is squeezing it, it's aser min ha-Torah. Then there's other fruits, which is, some people do it, squeeze it, and some people do not squeeze it. The halacha is that it's like tutum v'remoinim, that means strawberries and pomegranates. And over there, the halacha, that is aser only midrabanan. Now, I said some people squeeze. Some people squeeze means you have to have a majority of people around the world, or at least in that town, which makes it should be aser midrabanan. If you have most of the people in this town or in the world which are going to squeeze it, not most fruits, most of the people who live in the world or live in the town will also take pomegranates, will also take fruits, and they're going to use it for juice, then it's also midrabanan. If it's not a roiv, the Alter Rebbe says kuli, but the Chachamim sagen schon ribe kikila. Always in Torah we have a klal, ribe kikila. It doesn't have mamash ribe kila mamash. Ribe is enough. Now, if a minority is using it, if a minority is squeezing it, then it's not osir. Even a person which wants to squeeze it for himself, it's not osir, not even midrabanan, because there's no roiv which are going to squeeze it. Now the Remu says like this: in that place which they have some kind of fruits which you squeeze in order to drink it for tanig or when you're thirsty. I mean to say lafika, if you are squeezing it only for a refuah or not enjoyment, not a juice to drink. Then zukt of them the Remu, Dine ketutem v'remoinim. The halach is going to be the same as tutem v'remoinim, as pomegranates and strawberries. V'aser midrabanan. So you have a state, you have a town, whatever, which is most of the people are going to squeeze that fruit to drinking. That becomes like tutem v'remoinim. It's aser midrabanan. Aser midrabanan. Okay, Now again, the Alter Rebbe says the Loshen, since all the people in that place makes it during the week, then is this user becomes aser. Zukshin of them the achroinam that ribe kikila. That's what we have to remember. Ribe kikila goes with the majority. Majority is squeezing it, then it's okay. Okay, now I started last shiur, but I want to go over because we went very short, and ich will eine Kidde stressen. Now the Remu gives, what does the Remu say? You have a place which over there, most of the people are squeezing it, they must wait the saucer. Yeah? If most of the people in that city or do not squeeze it, then it's mitte midrabon, mitte l'choladais. That means if I decided I want to squeeze avocado, it's not an issue. Because nobody squeezes avocado. Akabon is not a roiv, so therefore it's not an issue, and I can do it. If I want to do it in Shabbos, you can do it. We'll see which keli, but Akabon, be'ikaron, you can do it. Now, the Remu talks in a place that there's what is the halacha? What will be the halacha if a minority of this city squeezes it, and a minority of the whole world squeezes it, but the whole world uses it squeezing this fruit. That means again, you have a fruit which you don't have. Most of the people do not squeeze it in this town, or not even in the world. But in the whole world, most of the states of the world, most of the countries of the world, are squeezing this kind of fruit. But when you collect all the people who squeeze it, it's still a minority. What is the halach? You hear what I'm saying? The Remu speaks when in one town, if you have the roiva squeezing it, it's also midrabunan. If you have a minority, then it's fine. What is going to be, you have a minority of the whole world, but the whole world, everybody is squeezing it. That means the whole world, it's accepted that you squeeze, let's say, tomatoes. Yeah, that's accepted, but it's a minority. What is the halacha? Zukt of them the Bes Yosef, the Machaber, the Bes Yosef in the Sefer Bes Yosef, it will be a problem. Since as most of the countries in the whole, most of the cities in the world use it, although it's a minority of people, Afipikan, it is not an issue. Afipikan, since there's in most of the countries they're squeezing it, vetes osem midrabuna. Also zukt of them the Machaber, the Bes Yosef in Bes Yosef. Yeah. The Remu Lechoira do not agree with this Bes Yosef. Because the Remu, again, we have two scenarios over here. We have one scenario is most of the people in a town, one town, then it becomes Asr. If it's a minority, it's a mitter. The Bes Yosef, and then we have a scenario of most of the people on the whole world, do not squeeze it. Only a minority, but most of the people are conscious. It is a thing which everybody is squeezing it. So according to the Machaber, it is going to be Aser, Midrabunan, and according to the Rebu, the Choyre is going to be Mitter. Because the Nekidus Advurim is only a majority makes it Aser. Now, if you have in one town a majority, so at least in this town it's going to be Aser, the whole world is going to be Mitter. But in this town is going to be Aser, because you have a majority. Now, if you have the whole world, everybody squeezes it, but it's only a minority of people, is according to the remove it a problem, in Sivzan Mitter is to use. In Sivzan, it's not going to be a problem. So we have over here the remove, which is Michael Modem Mechaber, basically on two things. One is, if you have one place which everybody is squeezing it, so what happens? It's also in that city, it's not also in the whole world. And then we have a thing which is most of the people in the world squeeze it, but it's a minority. According to the B'Shas Zan User, according to the Remu, it's going to be mitter. So, and this is how we paskin. This is what we paskin. So we the Remu. This is what we do. When we say that most of the people do not squeeze it, what does it mean they not squeeze it? Do not squeeze it because they don't like it, or it's not accepted. They have the fruit and they're not squeezing it, or they don't have it. What is, if for instance, once upon a time you couldn't have oranges in the whole world. Yeah, only in Florida and California. You know, today the whole world is one world. Yeah, you could send stuff, airplane. Once upon a time, the world was a big world. So people, if they would have had such a thing, they would have eaten it. They would have squeezed it. But it happens to be they don't have it. When you have most of the people who will not squeeze it, they have this fruit, but they not squeeze it because or they don't like it, or they don't have no Indian. That's one thing. What is it where most of the world would have this fruit, access to that, they would have squeezed it? What is such a thing? That's already a problem. That's already, because most of the world will squeeze it. Happens to be, they don't have it. It is as if just a moshvitz game. I know the Mugavruv doesn't say, but just to clarify it, we have a thing in Yontov, that a food which is shuv l'chal nefesh, you could cook. A food which is not shuv l'chal nefesh, you cannot cook. You know, some machel which most of the people will not eat, only malochim, misrofim, misangim belvat, then you cannot cook on Shabbos because it's not shuv l'chal nefesh. The Rishonim noch that when we say shuv l'chal nefesh, not shuv l'chal nefesh means I have access to it. If I don't have access to it, doesn't mean it's not shuv l'chal nefesh. If I would have had access to it, I would have eaten. People will like it. Happens to me, we cannot have access to it. For instance, if there should be a slaughterhouse which will slaughter deers, and people would have buy it, so you could, then it's a problem. It's not to mushel because deers making me all. But let's say there is a food which if it would have been accessible to us, it wouldn't be so expensive. Let's say, what is it called? This cow which costs $10,000. Waggy, yeah. Waggy, everybody, if it would have been that so expensive, everybody would have eaten it. Yeah. So this heißt the Shuv L'Chanefesh. Heißt the Shuv L'Chanefesh. Happens to be, as we don't, it's not accessible. What? It's not accessible to people. So the same is also over here. If people would have had this kind of fruit, yeah, they would have used it. Then that's called. They would have squeezed it. Then is this a zach? So this we have to come about this the kid. So therefore, nowadays, which we will say every juice is usually manufactured in big companies, yeah. Big companies squeeze Tropicana or big companies. So you have access all over. In such a thing which you have access and people do not drink it, then we will say it's not a problem. But if you don't have access, happens to be you don't have access, which is not applicable, but there is access. Therefore, such a case doesn't mean that Rav Oib doesn't drink it, and therefore it's an useh with Rabun. What do you want to say?
So, something that only princes drink or whatever, or malachim drink, regular people would drink too if they had access.
Not necessarily. There are foods, there are things which a regular person versteht nicht zu dem. You know, he doesn't know, he doesn't understand. Not necessarily. When let's say sushi came in, yeah, most of the people, it doesn't pull them. I tell always a story. I was years ago. I was once in Crown Heights, and I think it was a full day. So I went into the store, which prepared food, and I asked, "What is there to eat?" So I didn't have anything appealing. So I wanted to leave. He says, "I have sushi." I says, I don't, I'm not eat sushi, I don't like it. It looks like raw fish. He tells me the first couple of times which I tried it, I also vomited. But you get used to it. So I told him, you know what it means? The archatuam, which even the Yetzer Hara doesn't come to you, and you push yourself, you bring up the Yetzer Hara. So ich habe Hashem genik tavas in my leben. And I like a lot of food in my leben. I should bring up a new food, Vama the first 5 times, in order to become a geschmackenes. Sigit azoi. So. So let's come to actualize it. When it comes to oranges, Hakel moidem, when it came to sauce, today's day, that oranges, to squeeze oranges is a Isser D'Oraisa. Why? Again, because we said, what is the reason that to do a Isser D'Oraisa to squeeze anuvim zaysim v'anuvim? Yeah, because most of the zaysim in most of the anuvim is made for squeezing. Most of oranges is made to squeeze. A small percent, 4.2%, I think I checked it today. I wanted to see, how many. Most of the oranges which is planted, goes for juice. A very tiny, and it falls every year. Every year it fell from 4.2 to 3 point something. It goes down because people stopped drinking juices that much. So, I'm sorry, people start juice, they drink more orange juice, so they eat raw fruits much less. So most of the fruits, and when I say more, not 51 to 49, I'm talking 90 something, which goes for juice. So oranges is planted for juice. When it comes to grapefruits, it's not. So grapefruits, pineapples, what? What do you mean different? So we spoke already last week. He says, Hakl Bakl. We spoke at it. By the way, when you Google this, it will get you these oranges, how many, he divides it in all. I bet last week I mentioned this, that there's table grapes and there's wine grapes. So you can also say, you don't look at this. Most of the grapes, we spoke last week about this, the last year. So kommt aus der moidige Sache. Squeezing oranges is a Issa D'Oraisa.
What's the percentage of grapes?
I didn't check, because Chazal Zugn is most, and in Mistaber most. But wine is taka Mistaber. I didn't have to. But for oranges, I was thinking, because I love oranges, and I eat oranges, Florida oranges, Sonkis oranges, and it says majority, why? Machetaisa. But when I saw this amount, I thought it would be, even if a majority would be 51, 52, 55, 45. Nah, mamash, it's not shy. What? Yeah, it's going to be. We're going to go into it in a minute. Yeah. Enough minute the rice of the Rabbun. So what is Abba Mitter? So what is Midrabunan? So when you talk about pineapples, grapefruit, peaches, kiwi, mango, all these things, it's not a majority for squeezing. So therefore, it's only going to be Issa Rabbuna. It's not going to be Issa D'Oraisa. If you don't have, but you do it for juice. If you have a fruit which basically people do not use for bachlal, so then you could do bachlal. There's no problem. You bachlal use, even if your kavon is to squeeze it. You decide you want to squeeze again avocado, you could do it according to bapashtas halucha. So you pass mugnavruam dal treba mitzad meikir halucha. You could do it. The Bach comes and the Bach says no.
You say avocados are for a different thing, but there's stuff that are like, what is it called? More carrots, tomatoes, I think you gave an example earlier. That's more common than avocado.
Okay, even that. All these things. I said, you're right. I said avocado. No, I'm meat. No, I want to say I'm meat. No, you're right. Any meat, which is not if you have a town which is a majority, that's something else. But if you have only meat, less than 50% are using it for drinking, you could do it. Yeah, and you're right.
The lemons and limes are only for juice.
Okay, we'll get to lemon separate. So lemon is a whole separate subject, the whole separate subject. Lemon could be even easier than other situations. We're going to come to that. There's a whole, we'll get to that.
But do you go to the supermarket, see how much shelf space they use for juice and how much for the fruit?
It doesn't go like that because you don't know what's doing right. You have to go to Google or AI or what? Big commercial use. All these juices, when you say majority squeeze, who's squeezing? Not me, not you. You're talking about these big companies.
Also, they squeeze juice to use in other products for flavoring.
Okay, but that's still juice. There's still juice, yeah.
So you said oranges is like their guys. So
oranges is going to be D'Oraisa.
What's in the Rabbanon?
The Rabbanon is going to be anything which is Zaysen Vanuvim, which is a thing, which is a normal thing. People
thing to do, and then you have the mutter legamri before we got to the Bach, which is a nice one.
Yeah. Exactly. So the Bach says anything which decided is to squeeze. Anything which decided is to squeeze, just to make clear what Tzidka said, anything which it's a side that people are doing it, although it's not a majority, that's like Tutem V'Remonim. Because the reason why Tutem V'Remonim Chazal M'Gasad is because it is a thing which people will do. Then you have things which people will not do, mamash manarti, then has nothing to do. Yeah. So that's the Mechaber Remu. The Gaba, if a person for himself wants to squeeze. The Bach comes and says no. In the Rishonim, we can also see smichim to what the Bach says. The Bach says, Kol ha'payres, all the fruits, usir l'sochten l'maymayim. If you want to squeeze it in order to drink it, it's osir. Medivra sofra. Shekiva shezeh asoiche date al maymayim nishtoisam. Since your kavana is you're squeezing to drink it, and drink it means because you have enjoyment in it. Yes, haraim chashivim mashkim b'divrei sofrim. It is called the mashkim b'divrei sofrim. V'ayin omer abatel datakayt kaludam. When is it when is the halacha that it's not a problem? It's muter. If I say if this guy takes it to drink, it's awesome in Rabbanon. When is it muter? So the only reason when it's muter is if I squeeze the pri in order to make it. Squeeze it in order to make it sweet. Looks like one of the ways how we have something which is sour or not so sweet. You squeeze out the juice, the fruit itself becomes more sweeter. If it is K'daila Matkoi, then it's not an issue. Then it won't be a problem. Ilamaise sucht auf dem der Bach and finishes, ein lehoires Shimheter, b'shim pri lesochte lemamayim, cholila v'cholila. This is what the Bach says. You cannot have any etter to speak if you want to drink any fruits, even nobody squeezes you would decide you want to squeeze it. A'ised reburin is also cholila v'cholila. The Mugan Vroom disagrees with him. In the Alter Rebbe, in the Mishnah Berurah also disagrees with Ikar Adin with the Bach. In the Alter Rebbe finishes the Ikar Kesfura Hurishoina, that not with the Bach. Yeah. Aber finishes, so what does he say? If there is a place which you don't squeeze any fruits and vegetables, other than that, he doesn't take according to the Bach. So again, according to the Bach, let me just sum it up. A thing which it's made, most of the people will squeeze it in order to drink. That's Issa D'Raisa. If it is a thing which is not most of the people, but it is a thing which the people it's a regulus, people will do it in order to drink it, then it's Vein Oser. If it is nobody, it's not the regulus to squeeze it, and you decide to squeeze it, according to the Mechaber, the Namu, the Shechanur, Mungan Vroom, in the Alter Rebbe, the Ketchile Medina, it's Muslim Ketchile, the Bach Zut, the Machbazan, and the Alter Rebbe says the place, Vim is Machma, then it is not then you should be a Machmar. Now we have to remember, whatever we just spoke now, all these things we're talking about, squeezing it with the hands. You have a fruit, you want to squeeze it with the hands. If you're going to squeeze it with a squeezer, now I'm not talking about electric is the Chasar Shabbos, but even if you're going to use a squeezer, the profession it's a you go in the stores, they put on oranges. There's also other a little bit more professional. You get a schlep, break it down, and it gives a kvetch edge of that. Anything which is made to squeeze, it's not be a dime, then is there a problem even the chol. Of such a thing, there's a problem even the chol in any case. How do we see such a thing? We see it by cheese. Cheese, hard cheese, what is it? Grater. Steigt sich nur auf Simmer Shich auf Alef Sifid, gab Teuchen, as if you want a grate cheese, we say Njuka is a Teuchen, because it's not a Sach, it doesn't come from the ground. It's nicht ein Teuchen ele begdile karka. So cheese is not a problem, but kaila mich lekach, then it's not a problem. So therefore, but Pashas we would say it is an issue of even the chol. Agam, it's nicht so clear. Because the Achronim which want to say you don't make cheshbon, even the chol you don't compare whatever is shtayt, whatever doesn't say. But Akapurim, other Achronim will say it is an issue. So therefore, whatever, even if you don't go according to the Bach, still the heter is going to be when you do it with your hands and not when you do it with anything which is a keli, because that goes in Akapurim. According to some poskim, it is a problem with even the chol, and that will be a problem.
Why can't we say that juicing with the keli is like a type of fire?
What do you mean?
And when you're juicing, you're being offered, maybe it's not one type of cell, it's actually clean. You want to juice, so the leftover part becomes less, and butter, you can't do it with the keli.
Aber solche Zeichen sind andere Halacha. Solche ist nicht ein Indian of Breire. In Breire do they klal, Euchel, Mekaile, Leberkeile, but other things in the Shos is like Breire.
But the rule of Schitta is also creating, you're taking one thing out of the other. It's like separating.
If you have a thing that takes out the pulp, then
that's anders. When you have the juice and then you put it in a sifter, that's something else.
No, some juicers have screens on the bottom.
No.
So when you squeeze it,
the
juice comes out and the pulp stays on top.
It's fine to take out.
Do somebody else get it? But it could be sometimes also the seeds will. I'm thinking about the seeds. Could be the seeds. Them kazana problem taka ocha. Do this kazana should take a problem.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Tzvika wants to say the ate some squeezing should be the problem. The squeezing is not a problem. Solche haben kein Mensch that this is an issue of boilers. It's andere gedurim, andere haluchas. Chotschik be'etzem, the pshat is noch mehr. Weil boire the pshat, Boirer, die Bescheid, hat zwei Sachen, aber euch mit Absäules. Ja, bei mir echt nicht du kann Boirer. Remember? Mir echt nicht kann Boirer. Das ist doch sicher, wie lang ist eine Sache sicher, ist mir echt. So, schwer zu suchen, auf dem man in der Gede von Breire, es geht daran, die Gede von Schiete. Aber, so therefore, again, es ist eine Sache, was ist, aber he has a point. If it comes out also the pits, and then you have a kele, which makes sure that the pit shouldn't fit in the water, this can not a problem. Yeah. But what is if you squeeze the fruits today's day with your grapefruits doesn't have pits, and the Israelis came up with the, watermelon without pits and grapefruit without pits, there's new technologies which they play with the DNA. So, okay. Okay, so this is the what we spoke regarding this Indian of squeezing orange, squeezing all the fruit. Now the Tmuz has another thing. The Tmuz, speak up if you have a question. You have a question?
Just the signs. I was just wondering about the signs.
The sign?
Signs.
Oh, the signs. The signs. The what?
Fruit means seeds.
Yeah.
They take out the seeds. So technically,
No.
how does the fruit continue to grow? Because the fruit is supposed to reproduce itself, right? Plant the fruit.
No. They play with the DNA. That DNA makes the reproduction.
They take a cutting.
It's like a fruit that's a
Sorry. Yeah. And attack this fruit can schmachen water.
Right.
Hem genomen. Yeah. Okay, so now let's go another thing. Zoek de remu weiter. The remu looks like this. It's also to take a grape and soich it. Avomitter, and those are geschmacken and the kidder was. Avomitter, limtzois, befiv, min hanovim, hamashkish behem. It is mutter to take a grape, squeeze out the juice. Now, schieten with as ice and room is at the rice. Zoekt of them the remu. It's not a problem to take the juice, a grape, squeeze out the whole juice, the grape juice, and throw away the anovim. Even by anovim, the kolshken b'shar in you. That's what the remu. Then comes the remu and says, "V'yesh omrim, v'yesh oshem limtzes b'pem anovim kiyotz b'hem." So the remu brings down the first halacha, first shitta, the stam as his mitter. Then we have asram as is usr. What is the machloikas? And let's delve in a little bit in them. The Yerayim, the Blazer is the Yerayim. He writes like this: Lo yimutzad befiv mashkem anuvim. A person should not take a grape, squeeze out the anuvim. V'choishesh ani mechatas. And I'm afraid of mechatas. Why? Because you're talking about the anuvim. Anuvim is as I have said. So when you squeeze it with the mouth, it's a problem, and what? No, you can eat. Put it in your mouth. No. I'm talking when you have a grape, you're squeezing it out. Sucking it out, let's say like this, sucking it out. Zukt of them the bala eater, the bala eater. Ima shekus vayarayim, laise klal. Whatever the Yerayim writes, habt sich nicht schon. Sie mitter elum limtzes mashke manuv mitter lekitchila. So you see the machlokas. By the Yerayim is choshishani mechatas. By the Balaiter says mitter lekitchila. And as we talk the shbira leket, with about andere shoyne which says it's not an issue. What is the sibus of what's the svura do? What's the svura do of the what's the svura machlokas? I mean, lama senem namashi. What is the machlokas? Now, there's three ways again how to take out mashke from grapes. One is you squeeze it. You have a machine, or you have a balkan. You used to have ones, machteshes. You put it in over there. The grapes. You put it in over there. The olives. You squeeze it. You take it out. That's one way. Second way is you have the hands. Take a grape. Squeeze it out. Third way is squeezing it out with the mouth. There's three ways. Squeezing it out with any keli, with any way, the regular way, is kemiven, and a Torah is a shalaf and isa deraisa. Yeah? Squeezing it, wow, that's the way how they do it. That's the way how to squeeze orange, grapes or olives. Squeezing it with the hand is auch it osir. This is only kidder, because that's the way also people Sometimes you do it. Person has a bunch of grapes, squeeze it out to make Kiddush. So this is also a thing which people would do, and therefore this is ochtuser. Now, when it comes to soichet zam with the mouth, which is not a normal thing to do. It's not the way how to be soich. Yeah? Kimt of them dirayim, and it says, although it's a shini, it's not the normal way, aber afe beken, you talk about the novum, which is, se nicht das a groise shini, in my mind, hab ich chatas. Chatas. Se nicht, it's not a shini, it's not the normal way, but chatas. The Bali Eater says, as se nicht kaderech achil, se nicht kaderech schite vachlal. Se nicht kaderech schite. In my mind, there's nicht a weg was mit it, so therefore battle da beide kaludem. Mein hab ich kein problem. This is the pashtus the way how we say it. The Bali Eater says this is a real shini, and that's mamash different, so therefore, nicht kein problem. And the Iran will say, no, it's not a richtige shini. It's a shini, but after it became, this is a problem. Now, there is a terzuv, the Tuv gives a different hesber of the machlokas. The terzuv says like this. There's a Rosh, we know this Rosh, we spoke about it, Baboirer. The Rosh asks, you have a cup of water, and in the water there is a worm, and you want to drink it. You're thirsty, middle of summer. So they ask the Rosh, could you take a shmata, a towel, put it on top, a thin shmata, put it on top of the cup, and drink it. So what happens now? The water, I'm drinking the water, and the worms stay inside. Yeah? So that was the shalom as the Rosh said. Is it asar or is it mitter? Zoekt of them the Rosh, mitter. Why? Ein derech bereide bekach. You have you boiler b'shas nachila. It's not a der breide bekach. So therefore, breide means first you do it, first you make a breide, then you drink it, then you eat it. We spoke about this nakida when we spoke about breide. But b'shas nachila is ein derech breide bekach. This is a breide means picking, cleaning it, and then you eat. Remember we spoke about lagaba fish. We said that there are points we say, in the Mishnah brings it down, that b'shas achila mamash, it's not a problem to be boiled the bones from the fish. Yeah, remember when we spoke about it? Weil das b'shas achila mamash. So when Meile came the Rosh and the Rosh sucht, that's not a problem. Sucht the Tirzuov, the same as the Rosh says b'braire, as ein derech achila bekach, sucht of them the Rosh, that's derech achila, that's not derech schite. So it's not a chita, it's a Sach. Kimt yes the Terzuv in a frag, a kasha, since the Machaber Paskins, the Remo Paskins is over the Rosh, that you are permitted to put a shmata on a cup in order to drink the water and make a braire through a shmata. So he asked, you bring down the Rosh Lalucha, why are you bringing down this Yashomram over here? According to Yashomram, it's not a problem. Why do you bring the Yashomram? That's the question which the Tirzuv asks. So basically, what is the Tirzuv's Likida? Tirzuv will tell them it's not an issue to take a grape and put it into your mouth, because this is a thing which I there, the idea of Braide Bekach, because Braide is first you boil it, then you eat it. Over here, it's not like that, and therefore it's not an issue. In the Maile, it's an issue problem, and the Tirzuv reflected the Bekasha. But Lamasa, it's not a push it. The Toys Shabbos, the famous Toys Shabbos, which has on Shabbos, 300 years ago, So he says of the Tirzuv, wait a minute, you're talking about Breide, die stellst am Breide mit Schiete, but Breide du as am Mizach, as ein derich Breide bekach, but Breide du as am Mizach, as Breide, the ganze Rekide von Breide is, you clean it first, and then you do it afterwards. Wie ist, ins Kemmet sich stellen, ein Maluche mit der zweite Maluche, since you saw it by Breide, it's also a thing that you're going to see it all over again. Wie, was bringst du Sachen mit Sachen? Don't connect it. Der Avnaneiser redt auch von der Nominative, in sucht, I just want to quote it, because it's a stark illusion. Beshar Maleches, ein Shim Heter, shall Beshas Achila. There's no a Heter Beshas Achila. It's a din in Breide, because the old concept of Breide is mesaknes on the food and then eating it. Aber by all other Maluches, is nicht du azam Zach Beshas Achila. And listen to his words. Ve'im loy koimer kain, if you're not going to say like this, Tiftach pe leminam. You're opening the mouth for all the minam. Bishtias to titim la'ashen cigarette. You are going to make, what are you going to do? You're going to make tiftach peh that you are allowed to smoke on Shabbos. Because ein ein derich maluche bekach. It's not bewahr. It's nicht der derich Sach. V'toiva hashtike. Her, sprach aber das so. V'toiva hashtike. You took a halacha from the Rosh, you brought it over here, as a single I'm not masking, so the Tosef Shabbos, with the Abraham, all of them disagree with this halacha. But there's another reason also, which we could use a heter, why you have no issue, like the Balaiter, why you could speak moitzatz. And that's the Hezbollah was the Rishonim zugen. The Balaiter, in the Balaiter, the word is like this. What is Schiete? Schiete is, you have a fruit. Yeah, you have a oichel. Squeezing out the liquid. What are you doing now? You're making a mashke mit a oichel. You're squeezing out mashke mit oichel. That's squeezing. Always, when you squeeze something in, you squeeze anything we squeeze in on a food, on top of a machel, we're going to see in Hemshech, it's not an issue. Akapunim, nein, it's nicht kein Isser. So therefore, zukt of them the Balaiter, the reason why it's not a problem to be moitzatz, the grape from the fruit, from the Jews, because again, what is the nekid of Schiete? A mashke which comes out of a food. That's Schiete. Mashke which you take out in the mouth, which was never a mashke itself, it is in your mouth. Tanach tut geblieben Vater Euchel. Es ist eine Chushev, eine Chushev mashke, and therefore it's not a problem. Kim the Balaiter, again, here's an akida. The dritte Pshat, so the dritte Hesber, is that basically, as it never became a mashke, it's not going to be a mashke because it became mashke in your mouth. So we have three teritzim. One teretz is basically that. The first teretz is.
Where's the shoes come from?
What do you mean?
That's
Zalum Hashem mashke. The stuff of Hashem mashke.
That's the fault. It's a
Ja, a mashke van a oichel. Es darf nur mashke van a oichel. Du sucht es. Es darf a mashke van a oichel. What? You take what does the concept of Schiete? Schiete is why is it milking a cow? Yeah, choile is it usmishim Schiete. Mafarik. Farik means die mit dem Staros der Schiete, nicht Schiete, nicht die ganze Mafarik. Sie geht mit Zad Mafarik, aber Schiete ist der Wort. Ich habe genommen a mashke van a oichel. So es darf nur Hashem, es achshibes van a mashke. So Hashem achshibes van a mashke. What? Not euch mitoch psoiles. It's mashke mitoch oichel. Das ist der Wort. Es ist no mashke. Es ist achshibes van a mashke. Es ist Hashem mashke. Es ist achshibes van a mashke. Es ist nicht der Greifer, wo sich beim... Aber dem leicht es der Wort Chushev. In ander Kreis, will zu leigen, als sie darf sein a mashke, wo sie so achshibes van Hashem mashke. Die Manier, was die ganze Maschke ist nur im Amol, hat es nicht achshibes von Hashem mashke. Bis gerecht ist, ich will es mit Hashem mashke. Aber sof ist es, ich sage es an Luschen, lass mal sehen, ich habe da Luschen da. Ein ist es Schiete, Shiuve, Eile bedu bestarke lies mashke, kann sein, wenn du v'chushev. Das heißt, zweit nun, es darf sein a mashke, es darf werden a chushev. Aber bei Moitzes, mach shivas yesh le mashke mit achpif. Like the tzidane kinder, mach shivas le achpif. Bei Meile, wegen dem, kommt aus dem, haben wir 3 Sibas zum Matter sein, wie die Balaiter, und nicht wie the what is it called? The what? Yeah. No.
Something else that the oil was not used to squeezing. You take a tomato or something else. So it's just to chashav azaf. And maybe you can say that this is murder.
Kazan hat es auch mit den Kindern als Geschivas. Kazan. Yeah, Kazan, could be Samus, yeah. So Lamas, this is the Mechaber Paskin. Kazan has the point. Lamas, this is the Remu Paskin. Bringt 2 Schittes. Und sucht der Paskin bestammt Meter. Und sucht Lamas, und bringt wir Shamram. Wie ist Paskin mal Luch? It's very interesting. Ich will mal da examen. Der Mishnah bringt Beshem al Yarabe. Ich will lang suchen der Luschen, was sei wichtig zu sehen in der Luschen. Der Mishnah bringt Beshem al Yarabe, sei se vanuvim shizritus mit der Reise. Sucht dem wo ist der Achru, wo ist man hin? When we talking about sei se vanuvim, wo ist der Isser der Reise. Ein Hanuche la Hachmer malimtzas befi. want someone to machlokes or shoynim, so you can squeeze it out from your mouth. So therefore, when you're talking about the reise, zeise manuvim is a shale von der reise, you should be so the lution hanuchel hachmer. Is nuchel hachmer. Beshar peiris eile hachmer. Das ist der Lusche von dem Mishtebrire, Beshem der Rabba. Noch einmal, was sagt Basaisen manuvim hanuchel hachmer, beshar peiris eile hachmer. Der alte Rebbe sagt der Lusche, ich will das sehen der Lusche. Der alte Rebbe sagt das so. Haminig lehukla fila basaisen manuvim. Der Minig ist lehukla basaisen manuvim. Mikol mokum hamachma basaisen manuvim tu wulef bruch. See the difference? Das heißt für der alte Rebbe ist du Michael. Der alte Rebbe sagt, der Minig ist lehukla. Als eine machma tu wulef bruch. Der Mischbirer gesucht, hanuchel hachma, was machma sein. Noch eine Kide. Bei alle anderen... No, basaisen manuvim. Basaisen manuvim, was hat der Reise? Nein, ja. Beshar Peiris, sucht die Mishtebrire eine Hachmer, wo sucht der alte Rebbe? Beshar Peiris, yesh luchel. Auch der Chilik in der, seht der Chilik, der Chilik? Seht der Chilik? Der alte Rebbe, du Michael. Wie wird es der Geist sein? Okay, let's give a practical motion, wie es der Geist sein, als am Sach. Weil, okay, jetzt einmal, lass mich fahren, jetzt gehen wir weiter. Will ich machen, Clou, that's only when you have it outside and you schlep it out. Once you take him out and you suck out the dose and speist those noch in the trobe, aber das Hollada ist damit. Und dem nicht was reden. Hakel moid mal das an us. Ist damit. The only machloikes is when you have it in outside, you suck it out. Dort am machloikes ist mal iter mal meter. Wie ist an der Gilik dann afkommen zwischen der Halloche? Mir macht Abriss. The baby is crying. What do you do? What do you do in the weekdays? You take the gauze pad, you dip it into wine, you put it into the mouth of the baby, and the baby sucks it out. Yeah? So now, you are talking about anuvim, grapes. You are squeezing apples with steamed grapes. And it's according to the Balaite, according to the Yeraim, what we are von der Reise. Ich verstehe es nicht mit der Heuchel, aber Sofkasof, ausquetschen, if you have a baguette and you squeeze it, auch ist der Reise, auch Schiete. Auch Schiete. Auch it? Ja, als heißen wir nur, ist er sagen, muss er sagen, was er der Reise ist. You know, wir suchen das Kerzen nach Scharf. Okay, we'll get that. Aber Akapuram, jetzt, ich lege es ran einmal, jetzt ist so, als sie sagen, okay, ich lege es ran einmal, ich quetsche es nicht. Ich lege es ran einmal, der Baby. Aber das heißt Safi B'Yadayim, which we have, one day we'll have to give a whole shiur in the Cheschinach. Safi B'Yadayim mit seiner Isse. So, oi behalte, das Problem ist es ausser, weil ich bin, so, oi behalte, als es do a Problem, also wie die Yeraim, wat gewinnt ein Problem, wat gewinnt ein Schale. Oi behalte, also wie die Balaiter, ist es auch advent sich mit Stumme in der 2 Tamam, in der 3 Tamam. Ob der Tamam ist wegen dem, weil sie nicht Chushev, L'Shem Moich, was kommt dran in den Mol, wo du auch mit zusammen mit her. Ob der Tamam, wo der Teresu, so klar, tracht, ob der Tamam, wo der Teresu, wird gesucht auf uns, als, wo sie wenn Teresu ist Tam, als beschassen Achille, was auch gewinnt mit her. Beschassen Achille hat auch gewinnt mit her, ja. Als Afkasov, es ist beschassen Achille. Der erste Riesen, was was haben wir gesehen, weil es ist, heißt Aschini oder nicht. Du hat man kennen sagen. Aber Akapuram, dort kann man Uri ein bisschen die Schale.
Grapes is not so common. Kids many times they like orange and slices and they squeeze them in their mouth and they play with them.
Orange, okay. Emmes. Ja, Emmes. Es ist auch eine Geise an, ein bisschen, so Schnee asked, where's the chilik between the Reise and the Rabunan? So, we mentioned it last year a little bit, dort it ran enough, if you slice up an orange, you slice up, and comes out some water, it's comes out some juice. Yeah, because remember, we'll have to go in the next year with Akadeni Kidda. So, a große chilik, if you remember, ob the Reise is mashkum shazu v'zoser. Ob the Rabunan, when you slice something to eat, and comes out liquid, ob es ist Nuvim, ist es Osser. Ob es ist schare Sachen, das ist nur mit Rabunan, ist wie bald ich habe es gequetscht zu essen, ist der Maschk, was kommt raus zusammen mit. So that will be one of the chilikim, because he has a good question. What's the difference in the Reis of the Rebun? We're not reform. In any case, it's going to be awesome. So dort wird Chappen Rafkim. We're going to elaborate the next year. Okay. It comes out liquid.
It always comes out a lot of juice.
Okay. So you're doing you slicing it up and you're taking it up because you want to eat it. We're going to get to this. We'll do this we'll be mark next year on this nakida. Aber es ist ein Achillik zwischen 30 mit der Wohnung.